Who wouldn't want to live to 100, feeling strong, healthy, and full of life? Today, we're going to explore a simple yet incredibly effective habit that can dramatically increase your chances of not only reaching that milestone, but also enjoying every moment along the way. It's easy to do, but the challenge is sticking with it. Before we reveal this life-changing practice, we need to understand the real factors behind aging. Things like cellular damage, metabolic slowdown, chronic inflammation, and more. By addressing these, we can unlock the secret to living longer and healthier motion. Today, we're diving into something that has the potential to transform the way we live, feel, and age. We're talking about a strategy that might seem simple on the surface, but its effects run deep: intermittent fasting. Now, some of us might hear the word fasting and immediately feel hesitant, thinking it sounds like a difficult or extreme lifestyle change. But when we break it down, we'll see it's not about deprivation. It's about giving our bodies what they truly need: a chance to recover, heal, and work the way they're designed to. And the best part is, it's something that can easily fit into our daily routine. What exactly is intermittent fasting? At its core, it's about adjusting when we eat, not necessarily what we eat. Instead of constantly fueling up with meals and snacks throughout the day, we create longer windows without food, allowing our bodies to shift focus from digestion to deeper repair work. But let's not just talk about what fasting is. Let's really get into how it works. We're going to answer two major questions. How does fasting help to reverse or slow down some of the damaging processes that affect our health? And how challenging is it to actually do? Now, many of us might think fasting is one of the hardest things we could attempt. After all, we're surrounded by food and messages telling us to eat often, to never skip meals. But when we truly understand what fasting does inside our bodies, it becomes clear that it's not about restriction. It's about restoration. It's about giving our systems the break they need to repair themselves and work more efficiently. And when we talk through these mechanisms one by one, we'll see how achievable and beneficial fasting can be. Let's start with something that's happening in all of us, every single day. Cellular damage. Our bodies are like intricate machines, and just like any machine, they wear down over time. This happens due to things like oxidative stress, exposure to toxins, and the general wear and tear of life. Think of it like rust forming on a piece of metal. If we don't take care of it, it starts to break down. Our cells, the building blocks of our body, go through a similar process. As they accumulate damage, they don't function as well, and this can lead to diseases and premature aging. But here's where fasting comes in as a game changer. When we fast, our body kicks off a process called autophagy. Now, autophagy is essentially the body's internal recycling program. During fasting, the body starts seeking out damaged or malfunctioning cells and breaks them down to reuse their parts. It's like our body goes on a deep cleaning mission, getting rid of the old broken components and making way for newer, healthier cells to thrive. It's not just a superficial cleanup. It's a way to strengthen our body from the inside out, allowing us to age more gracefully and stay healthier for longer. Now, let's talk about something we all need to pay attention to: inflammation. Chronic inflammation is one of the major culprits behind many diseases that creep up as we get older. Things like arthritis, heart disease, and even Alzheimer's. This kind of inflammation doesn't just happen overnight. It builds up over years as our body's natural defenses start wearing out. You might have heard the term inflammaging, which refers to the way inflammation accelerates the aging process. It's like a slow-burning fire that, over time, weakens our tissues and organs. Here's where fasting can make a real difference. Studies have shown that fasting reduces inflammation by lowering certain markers in the blood, like C-reactive protein and interleukin-6. When we take breaks from constant eating, we allow our bodies to focus on healing rather than digesting. This can protect our tissues, reduce the risk of inflammation-related diseases, and help us feel better overall. By lowering inflammation, fasting helps us fight off diseases that otherwise would require medications and lifelong management, like high blood pressure or arthritis. But we're not stopping there. Another critical piece of the puzzle is metabolic health. Many of us might not realize it, but as we age, our cells can become less efficient at processing food into energy. This is often due to something called insulin resistance, where our cells stop responding to insulin because we've been exposed to too much of it over time. It's especially common in people who eat a lot of carbohydrates or snack frequently throughout the day. Insulin resistance is a major factor in weight gain, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. Fasting, however, gives our body a break from the constant flood of insulin, allowing our cells to become more sensitive to it again. When we fast, insulin levels drop, and the body switches into fat-burning mode. This doesn't just help with weight management. It also improves our metabolic health, reduces inflammation, and lowers the risk of heart disease. It's about optimizing the way our body processes energy, helping us feel more vibrant and energetic as we age. Hormonal balance plays a huge role in how we feel and how we age. When our insulin levels are out of control, it throws off other hormones as well. For women, this can mean too much estrogen, leading to conditions like PCOS, which causes painful periods and fertility issues. For men, it can mean a decrease in testosterone, which leads to a loss of muscle mass and energy. In both cases, hormonal imbalances can also affect our libido and overall well-being. What's interesting is that fasting can help regulate these hormones by lowering insulin resistance. When we fast, our body recalibrates, bringing our hormones back into balance. This can improve our mood, energy levels, and even our appearance. And let's not forget, hormonal balance key to avoiding some of the more uncomfortable and confusing changes that happen when estrogen and testosterone levels get out of whack. Women growing facial hair, men developing feminine traits. These are signs that our hormones are off balance, and fasting is one way to help restore harmony. Intermittent fasting is about so much more than simply not eating for a period of time. It's about allowing our bodies to heal, repair, and rejuvenate from the inside out. It gives us a break from the constant cycle of digestion, allowing us to focus on deeper, more important processes that protect our health. Whether we're concerned about inflammation, cellular damage, metabolic health, or hormonal balance, fasting has the potential to improve every one of these areas. While it might seem challenging at first, the benefits far outweigh the discomfort of adjusting to fewer meals. It's not about deprivation, it's about giving ourselves the opportunity to thrive, to age with grace, and to live healthier, more fulfilling lives. So let's embrace fasting, not as a restriction, but as a tool for unlocking the best version of ourselves. When we begin intermittent fasting and gradually reduce how often we eat, our bodies undergo some profound changes that can help us feel better and stay healthier as we age. One of the first things that happens is the body starts to produce more human growth hormone, which is a powerful ally in keeping our muscles strong and our bones healthy. At the same time, our insulin levels drop significantly. These two changes, working together, play a key role in rebalancing our sex hormones, which are often thrown off balance by high insulin levels. Insulin, as the primary culprit in hormone imbalances, can be like a weight pulling everything out of alignment. So, when we lower insulin through fasting, we give our body the opportunity to reset and recalibrate its hormonal systems. This shift not only improves hormone balance, but it also helps us maintain muscle mass and support bone health, which becomes increasingly important as we grow older. As we age, we also face the challenge of mitochondrial decline. Our mitochondria, which act like tiny power plants inside our cells, are responsible for turning the food we eat into energy. This process, which requires oxygen, happens within these mitochondria and is vital for fueling every function in our bodies. But here's the issue. The very process of producing energy also causes something called oxidation. Think of it as a kind of rusting effect on the mitochondria. The more oxidation that occurs, the more wear and tear these energy producers experience, and the less efficient they become at creating the energy we need. This decline in mitochondrial function is a big part of why we feel less energetic as we age, why our bodies don't seem to respond as quickly, and why we experience signs of aging more noticeably. But here's where intermittent fasting steps in as a game changer. Fasting not only gives our digestive system a break, but it also encourages the body to create new, healthy mitochondria. This process, called mitochondrial biogenesis, essentially refreshes our cellular energy producers, helping them function more effectively. Additionally, fasting allows our body to clean up older, less efficient mitochondria, recycling them into components that can be used for healthier cell function. It's like doing a deep clean inside our cells, ensuring that the energy production process is not only running more smoothly, but also more efficiently. As a result, we experience a boost in our overall energy levels, and our bodies are running on cleaner, more effective fuel. When we think about the impact of these changes, it's hard to overlook how important they are to our long-term health and vitality. By giving our body the space and time it needs through fasting, we allow it to work smarter, not harder, improving the very systems that keep us feeling energetic and strong. These effects add up over time, helping us feel more resilient, more alive, and more capable of facing the natural challenges that come with aging. Now that we've explored how fasting can significantly slow down the aging process and even reverse some of the damaging mechanisms associated with it, we're left with a question that often causes hesitation. Is fasting really as challenging as many people think? So many of us shy away from trying healthier habits like intermittent fasting because we believe it will be uncomfortable or too difficult. But let's take a moment to think about this. How hard is fasting, really? Here's a thought to consider. How many of us sleep on a regular basis? Most of us enjoy a good night's rest, typically ranging from 6 to 8 hours. During that time, our bodies are naturally fasting. Picture this. If we have our last meal at around 7 p.m. and then don't eat again until breakfast at 7 a.m., the next morning, we've already gone an impressive 12 hours without food, without even realizing it. And we do just fine. If our bodies can handle that period of fasting during sleep, why do we assume it would be any different when we're awake? The truth is, our bodies are incredibly adaptable and capable of managing extended periods without food, especially when we approach it mindfully. One of the simplest ways to ease into this lifestyle change is by adjusting our breakfast routine. Instead of eating the moment we wake up, let's try to delay that first meal by an hour. If we usually have breakfast at 7 a.m., let's push it to 8 a.m. and see how we feel. Once we're comfortable with that change, we can gradually extend it to 9 a.m. or even 10 a.m. By doing this, we've effectively stretched our fasting window to 12 hours, demonstrating to ourselves that we can go without food for a considerable amount of time while still feeling perfectly normal and functional. If we have busy mornings ahead or a packed schedule, We can always prepare a nutritious smoothie the night before. This way, when it's time to eat, we have a healthy option ready to go. We can sip on that smoothie later in the morning as we adjust to this new eating pattern. By incorporating this small change, we're not only embracing the benefits of fasting, but also making it easier to navigate our daily routines. Now, the fear of hunger. Many of us worry about feeling hungry during fasting periods, but hunger often comes in waves. Initially, we might feel a little peckish when we start fasting, but if we can wait it out, we'll find that those feelings usually pass. In fact, our bodies are designed to handle fluctuations in food intake. When we allow ourselves to fast, we're teaching our bodies to tap into their energy reserves and utilize stored fat more efficiently. This shift in energy source can actually lead to increased clarity and focus throughout the day. Think of fasting as a way to reconnect with our body's natural rhythms. Throughout history, our ancestors didn't always have food available at their fingertips. They experienced cycles of feasting and fasting, and their bodies adapted beautifully to these patterns. By adopting intermittent fasting, we're not just implementing a new eating schedule. We're rediscovering an ancient practice that aligns with our biological makeup. Fasting provides us with an opportunity to reset our relationship with food. It allows us to differentiate between true hunger and the habitual snacking or eating out of boredom that many of us fall into. When we start to listen to our bodies more closely, we can make more conscious choices about what we eat and when we eat. This mindfulness surrounding our food intake can lead to a more positive relationship with food, promoting healthier eating habits over time. As we gradually extend our fasting periods, we'll start to notice the multitude of benefits. Not only can we improve our metabolic health and enhance our body's ability to burn fat, but we can also promote better hormonal balance. Fasting can help regulate insulin levels and reduce the risk of developing insulin resistance, which is particularly important for maintaining a healthy weight and reducing the risk of chronic diseases. It's about giving our bodies the space they need to heal, repair, and optimize their functions. By making small, gradual adjustments to our eating patterns, like delaying breakfast or allowing ourselves longer periods between meals, we can start to reap the benefits without feeling overwhelmed. How we feel throughout the day. Shortening our eating window. Imagine we make a simple change by finishing dinner just a bit earlier. Instead of sitting down to eat at 10 p.m., let's aim to stop our meals by 9 p.m. After we've mastered that, we can gradually push our dinner back to 8 p.m. and eventually to 7 p.m. By doing this, if we enjoy breakfast at 10 a.m. the next day, we've effectively created a 15-hour fasting window. This pattern, known as 15 per 9, means we're consuming our meals within a 9-hour period while allowing our bodies to fast for the remaining 15 hours. Many people discover that this method is surprisingly manageable once they give it a shot. It often leads us to wonder how we ever felt the need to eat so frequently throughout the day. This strategy saves us time, alleviates that constant urge to snack, and ultimately helps us control our hunger. What we're really doing here is making intermittent fasting a sustainable and healthy practice that can fit into our lives. Here's what we might notice. As we adapt to this new eating pattern, our hunger levels begin to change. We might find ourselves forgetting to eat breakfast altogether, even if we have a nutritious smoothie waiting for us in the fridge. Our bodies start to adjust, and we become more in tune with our natural hunger cues. So, if we find ourselves working through the morning and suddenly realize we haven't eaten, that's perfectly okay. We can have our lunch at noon, and then later on, we can enjoy dinner at 6 p.m. And just like that, we've effectively incorporated intermittent fasting into our daily routine without even thinking about it. If we take this step, we'll discover that it's genuinely easier than we ever imagined. In fact, it can be less burdensome than the traditional habit of eating multiple times throughout the day. Constantly preparing meals can feel like a chore, a hassle that takes up precious time. By contrast, adopting this new pattern feels freeing, as we reclaim that time and energy for other pursuits. We might even find ourselves experimenting with a more extended fasting window, like an 18-6 pattern, where we fast for 18 hours and eat within a 6-hour window. However, it's essential to remember that this is just one option among many. Some of us might thrive on a 12-hour fasting window, while others may find a 16-hour or even a 20-hour fasting period suits us better. The key is to explore different time frames and discover what feels most comfortable and practical for each of us. Encourage ourselves to take that leap, to try out these variations and see how our bodies respond. By doing so, we open up a world of possibilities that not only enhance our health, but also streamline our daily routines. It's about finding a rhythm that works for us, leading to better health outcomes, greater energy, and an overall improved quality of life. Embracing this practice might just be one of the best decisions we make for our well-being. It's vital to recognize that for many of us, making a few simple changes can lead to remarkable improvements. However, we also know that some individuals face greater challenges, especially when it comes to those persistent cravings that seem to pull us in the opposite direction of our goals. So how can we navigate these tricky waters and find a way to overcome these hurdles together? First, let's dive into the topic of sugar. It's essential to understand that sugar is more than just a sweet treat. It can act like a drug within our bodies. This seemingly innocent substance triggers cravings, alters our emotional state, and causes significant fluctuations in our blood sugar levels. Each time we indulge in sugary foods, we often experience a roller coaster effect. An initial surge of energy, followed by a steep crash that leaves us feeling drained and craving more. By eliminating sugar from our diets, we can often break this cycle. In doing so, we'll find that those powerful cravings begin to diminish, allowing us to regain control over our eating habits and ultimately our lives. Focus to the quality of the food we consume. It's not just about cutting out the negatives, it's also about embracing the positives. When we talk about nourishment, we want to prioritize real, high-quality foods that truly benefit our bodies. Now, regarding macronutrients, it's time to reconsider some of the traditional guidelines we've been following. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that fat is the enemy, but the truth is, embracing a different perspective can be liberating. Instead of limiting our fat intake to a mere 30% of our total calories, we have the opportunity to increase that percentage significantly. Imagine allowing it to rise to 50, 60%, or even 70%, provided the fats we choose are of high quality. This shift can be a game changer, leading to improved satiety and overall health. But let's not forget about protein. It plays a crucial role in our nutrition, and we don't want to overcomplicate things. Simply incorporating moderate amounts of protein into our meals can have a substantial impact. Think about enjoying a piece of lean meat, a serving of chicken, or some delicious fish throughout the day. It's about achieving a balanced diet that keeps us energized and feeling satisfied. Now, let's address a common misunderstanding surrounding carbohydrates. There's a lot of misinformation out there, isn't there? Some individuals have the misconception that if they want to reduce their carb intake, they must avoid carbohydrates altogether, as if they're the enemy. But that's simply not the case. While cutting back on carbohydrates can help many of us manage cravings and maintain steady energy levels, we don't have to vilify all carbs. Instead, we can choose to adopt a moderate to low-carb approach, tailoring our diets to what feels right for our unique bodies. For some, exploring a ketogenic lifestyle may be a viable option, but remember that it's not necessary for everyone, and there's no one-size-fits-all solution. When we talk about taking control of our health, one of the most crucial steps we can take is to focus on what we're feeding our bodies. Our diet plays such a fundamental role in our overall well-being, and we really need to be mindful about the choices we make every day. The kinds of foods we prioritize, those rich in fiber, leafy greens, and non-starchy vegetables, are the ones that can truly nourish us. These foods are the carbohydrates that we can consume liberally because they're packed with nutrients, help regulate digestion, and support a balanced metabolism. We want to fill our plates with these natural, wholesome carbohydrates, the kind that comes from plants and whole foods. They provide us with the energy we need without spiking our blood sugar or leaving us feeling sluggish afterward. The great thing about vegetables and leafy greens is that they're low in calories but high in volume, meaning we can eat as much of them as we like without worrying about overdoing it. They are the building blocks of a diet that promotes energy, vitality, and long-term health. Now, where many of us can get off track is by following mainstream dietary recommendations that suggest getting a significant portion of our daily calories, sometimes as much as 60 or 65% from carbohydrates. These guidelines may work for certain individuals, but for most people, this approach isn't ideal. The truth is, many people today are living with some level of insulin resistance, even if they're unaware of it. And when we eat too many carbohydrates, even the healthier kinds, it can push our bodies closer to that state of insulin resistance, where we become less effective at regulating our blood sugar. That doesn't mean we have to eliminate carbohydrates entirely, far from it. If we're in good metabolic health, there's room for moderation. Foods like brown rice, beans, and even potatoes can fit into a balanced diet. But the key word here is balance. We have to listen to our bodies and make decisions based on how we feel and function, rather than just following blanket recommendations that might not be tailored to our specific needs. What we really want to avoid is an over-reliance on processed foods and fast foods, which often contain hidden sugars, unhealthy fats, and preservatives that do more harm than good. These foods are convenient, sure, but they can wreak havoc on our bodies over time. Reducing or eliminating them from our diets can be a game changer for our health. When we prioritize whole, unprocessed foods, we're giving our bodies the nutrients they need to thrive. We're not just fueling ourselves for the day, we're investing in our long-term health and vitality. And while making these changes can seem overwhelming at first, it's important to remember that we don't have to overhaul our diets overnight. Start with small steps. Maybe it's swapping out one processed snack for a healthier alternative. Or maybe it's incorporating more vegetables into our meals. Each small change we make is a step in the right direction. And over time, those steps will add up to big results. For those of us exploring intermittent fasting or other health routines, improving the quality of our food can make the process much smoother. When we eat nutrient-dense foods, we feel fuller for longer, and we're giving our bodies the tools they need to function optimally. The better we treat our bodies, the more we'll get out of these health practices. It's about building a foundation that supports everything else we're trying to achieve. And this isn't just about hitting short-term goals or losing a few pounds. It's about creating a lifestyle that promotes long-lasting wellness. When we focus on nourishing our bodies with the right foods, we're setting ourselves up for a future of energy, health, and longevity. We're choosing a path that allows us to feel our best, both mentally and physically. Now, if this conversation has sparked something in you, if you're ready to take that next step in your health journey, we encourage you to stay connected with us. There's so much more to learn and explore, and together we can dive deeper into understanding how our bodies really work. Don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear from you. Your experiences, your challenges, and your successes can help inspire others on their own journeys. And if you found this discussion helpful, be sure to share it with those you care about. Whether it's your family, friends, or loved ones, we all benefit when we support each other in making healthier choices. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on these valuable insights. We're here to walk this path with you, and we're excited to see where this journey takes us together.